Hi there, hi, this is Liz Davis. I am a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their bloating, painful digestion, IBS, any associated hormone issues, chronic fatigue, that kind of thing, which is very closely linked to gut health normally. And I do this with state-of-the-art gut testing and dietary upgrades, lifestyle upgrades, and supplementation to really get things nicely back into balance for you and working really well again as it should be. So a really kind of common thing that we see cropping up a lot at the moment, or always, is that is something called SIBO. So SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So all this means is that rather than having bacteria flourishing nicely in your large intestine where they should be, they're starting to creep up into the small intestine a little bit and cause a few problems, because we're not supposed to have all that bacteria in our small intestine. We can have small amounts of bacteria hanging out there, but we want the majority of it, the bulk of it, to be in the large intestine. So it's estimated that something like 85% or so people who experience IBS type symptoms actually have an element of SIBO going on as well, which can cause all kind of similar symptoms to that. So how does it happen then? Well, typically what will happen is that clients will be on, say, PPI medication or any of those kind of medications that decrease stomach acid. When the stomach acid comes down too low, it's not an effective barrier against pathogens. So it's a really good, first line of defense in your immune system. And if it can kind of keep the bacteria in balance nicely by killing off anything that attempts to get down into the lower digestive system. So when this system goes awry a little bit, that's when these problems can start to arise. In addition to that, you may see it crop up just as a natural part of aging. It could be from taking other medications such as the pill or antibiotics, anything that's kind of causing this imbalance in the normal kind of structure, the normal kind of way your stomach should be and your digestive system should be functioning. So the next thing to bear in mind is also the motility of your digestive system, because your digestive system should have this nice regular peristaltic action going on. And when it gets this peristaltic action going on, then it's nicely squeezing food and bits and pieces it doesn't want in there anymore, squeezing that nicely through the intestine and keeping it nice and clean and moving along nicely. If it's not doing that effectively, then these bacteria can sometimes take root where they shouldn't and start to flourish where they shouldn't as well. So it's really important to keep that motility going. So the motility can be disrupted by any kind of bowel surgery, any kind of abdominal surgery. You may have abdominal lesions, that kind of thing, that are left behind, or conditions such as ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, etc. So the other thing to bear in mind as well is the gallbladder. So sometimes if the gallbladder's been removed, that can cause problems as well, because the bile is actually another part of your immune system, among other things that it does. So it's kind of keeping that, some of those nastier bacteria at bay there and keeping them in the correct place where they should be. So what are the signs then if you've got SIBO? So basically, SIBO is not that much different to other kinds of intestinal disturbance you might have. So there'll be bloating, vomiting, alternating constipation, diarrhea, weight loss, tiredness, that kind of thing, depression, hormone issues, PMS, menopause, that kind of thing, can all be kind of going hand in hand with SIBO a bit there. Because it's not normally an issue on its own. It will be there alongside other conditions as well. One of the ways you can tell if SIBO is affecting you or not is if you recognise you have gut problems, you then start to experiment a little bit with probiotics, for example, and it's making things worse for you. So rather than making things better in your gut, it's making it worse. You're getting more bloating. It's just simply because you're adding to the bacterial load where the bacteria shouldn't be, and it's exacerbating those symptoms. So that's why it's important to test, really, to find out if there is SIBO going on. If you've tried to fix things yourself, tried to rebalance things, and you're just not getting anywhere. So the best way then, there are a few ways you can see if you have SIBO. The first one is the most commonly used, which is a breath test. There are a couple of breath tests available that can tell to a degree whether or not SIBO is present. It's not 100% accurate because, of course, your intestines are constantly moving, so there may be bacteria present sometimes. They may not be there all the time, so it's not 100% accurate. The other way that you can tell is through doing a stool test, and you can see from the stool test which bacteria you've got present in your intestines, and some of those bacteria are typically implicated in SIBO, so that's another way to tell, of course, alongside symptoms as well. The other way is on the NHS with a very kind of invasive test, which I don't think they tend to do typically. So it would be either the breath test or the stool test, or a combination of the two, that would give you the answers that you're looking for. So with trying to fix SIBO and bring things back into balance, it can be quite tricky because these bacteria can, they've set up camp in a place they shouldn't be, so they have to then protect themselves with biofilms. The biofilms are just like protective layers, like, for example, you get on the plaque in your teeth. It can be quite hard to break down and get to the bacteria to actually kill it off. So that can sometimes be an issue, which can complicate the treatment plan a little bit. So you may be prescribed antibiotics from your GP to deal with it, or you can use antimicrobial herbs, which pretty much have the same effect. There'll be supplements to break down the biofilm. Maybe we need to use an easy to digest diet, so for example a low FODMAP diet, for example. Possibly use digestive enzymes as well to just take the pressure off your gut while it's healing. If gut motility is an issue, then we need to get in with some nice motility herbs there to help things along that way, to help flush your whole gut through. Typical gut repair supplements, and then also any additional lifestyle supplements, lifestyle modifications that are needed. So stress control, exercise, that kind of thing. So stress management is always really important when you're looking at fixing any kind of digestive issue. Okay, so that's a quick rundown of SIBO, what it is, how it comes about, and then how we would go about fixing it. Okay, if you'd like to learn more about SIBO, you suspect you've got it and you'd like to test, then do pop me a message. There's a link to book into my diary in the comments below, and there's also some links there to download recipes and courses, etc. So go ahead and download those if you think they were useful. Okay, I'll see you next time.